Silence is not empty. It is full of words that were never spoken, full of feelings that had nowhere to go, full of thoughts that learned how to hide. Some people are loud because the world listens to them. Others become quiet because the world never did. Daniel was one of the quiet ones. He wasn't born silent. His voice was soft but curious, the kind that asks questions the world often ignores. "Why do people argue?" he asked once, tilting his head. "Why do grown-ups pretend they're fine when they're not?" Sometimes he whispered these questions to his cat, who, to be honest, was an excellent listener. The cat never answered, but it blinked in just the right way, making Daniel feel like maybe someone understood him. The first time he realized words could hurt, he was 7. He had asked a simple question, and instead of an answer, he got a shout so loud the glass on the window rattled. That day, Daniel learned something important. Sometimes silence is safer than speaking. At home, emotions didn't tiptoe. They stomped and shouted and tripped over one another. Daniel learned to step aside, to observe, to hide behind corners and shadows. And sometimes, just sometimes, he laughed quietly at the absurdity of it all. Not loud, not proud, just small enough that it felt like a secret between him and the universe. School was not much different, only quieter. Teachers praised him for being mature and well-behaved. Other kids thought he was shy, maybe even boring. Daniel didn't mind. He had bigger things to observe. The way sunlight caught on a desk, the way a friend's shoulders slumped when no one was watching, the secret smiles that appeared and vanished in a blink. And yes, he sometimes tried to make those smiles appear more often by leaving silly notes in random places. "You're funny today," scribbled in a notebook nobody would ever read. Daniel had a knack for noticing things others overlooked. A fallen leaf spinning in the wind, the way the rain made the sidewalk shine at night, the little victories hidden in ordinary days. He called those tiny moments proof that the universe isn't entirely forgetful. At night, Daniel lay awake, thoughts tumbling like dominoes. Some nights, he imagined worlds where people weren't so loud, where they said exactly what they felt and meant exactly what they said. Other nights, he dreamed of adventures, running through rain-soaked streets, catching raindrops on his tongue, discovering a secret door in the school library that led to another planet. Even if the doors only existed in his mind, they were beautiful. Daniel didn't dream of wealth or fame. He dreamed of being seen, of being understood, and maybe, sometimes, of being slightly mischievous without getting caught, like leaving a note in the teacher's drawer that said, "Your tie looks funny today," and imagining her laugh when she found it. He had a small circle of friends, mostly quiet kids like him, who understood the importance of whispers, glances, and shared giggles over shared secrets. With them, Daniel could be slightly louder, slightly more himself, though even then he never shouted. Even so, he carried a little weight with him, a curiosity that often felt like a question nobody could answer, a quiet longing to know why some people laughed easily while others hid their joy, why some days felt like they stretched forever and others ended too soon. One evening, after a particularly long day of pretending everything was fine, Daniel caught himself laughing quietly at the cat chasing its own tail. He realized he didn't need the world to laugh with him. Sometimes it was enough that he could make himself laugh. And that small realization felt larger than anything anyone had ever told him. As he grew, Daniel learned the art of small gestures. A nod instead of an argument. A smile instead of a complaint. A quiet exit instead of a confrontation. He learned how to watch life move around him without always stepping in, but he also learned how to step in when it truly mattered. He noticed things no one else did. A bird building its nest outside the classroom window. A single flower stubbornly growing between cracked pavement. A mother holding her child's hand just a moment too tightly. And in those moments, Daniel realized that the world was full of stories, many too small for anyone else to notice, but perfect if you stopped long enough to see them. Daniel laughed sometimes at the little absurdities of life, like the time he watched a neighbor chase a runaway dog that only wanted to steal the neighbor's sandwich, or the time his teacher tripped on a stack of books, and instead of being embarrassed, she pretended to bow and said, "And that, class, is how you gracefully greet gravity." Through it all, Daniel learned patience, not the kind that waits silently, but the kind that notices, the kind that understands that even a long, quiet day has beauty tucked inside. He discovered the magic of imagination, not as a place to escape, but as a place to explore, a place where he could be brave without anyone judging, where mistakes were just steps toward understanding, and where laughter was allowed to echo freely, even if only inside his head. And at night, Daniel often sat by the window looking at the stars. He imagined all the other quiet people out there, all the tiny smiles and secret laughter, and he felt connected, even if he didn't know their names. Sometimes, though, Daniel whispered to the cat, "I wish someone would see me." The cat didn't answer, of course. It simply blinked slowly, which Daniel decided was the universe's way of saying, "You are seen, just not by everyone." Some stories begin with adventure. Some begin with drama. Daniel's began with a laugh, a sigh, and a quiet whisper to the universe. He didn't know what the future held. Maybe it would be full of mistakes, missteps, and silent disappointments. Maybe it would be full of laughter, mischief, and unexpected joys. He only knew that he wanted to notice it all, to feel it all, to live it fully, even if silently. And this was only the beginning.